For a great cup of joe, there's one thing you should know. Your morning brew can also be playful. Buff Boy Brewing guys make the temperature rise. And you surely feel naughty when you swallow our coffee. If you want some real heat, give your mouth a fine treat. You will want some more, rest assured. Buff Boy Brewing, you can't get enough of.
It's time for The Scribble, your weekly fix of celebrity chats, bizarre stories in the news, and basic random chatter with best-selling author and syndicated radio host Jeremy Bradley. Make sure your seat is in the upright and locked position and your barf bag is securely in place. Here's Jeremy Bradley.
Thank you very much, Larson. Jeremy Bradley here. This is The Scribble. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Top of the morning to ya. Gotta say, I'm feeling green this morning because I enjoy a Shamrock Shake from McDonald's. If you're a fan of McDonald's or you have had food there in the middle of March, anytime in the past 20-some years, you've heard of or seen or had a Shamrock Shake. And for a few years, it actually went away. Back in the day, they actually took it off the menu, I was told, in Canada, and they wanted it to be like sort of a treat every other couple years. And so it's back. I had one at 7:45 this morning. I had some time to kill this morning, went to McDonald's just for the heck of it, and I said, what are the odds that you can make me a Shamrock Shake right now? A girl at the counter says, let me go see if the machine is on. Sure as hell, it was. I said, good, give me one. My stomach, right now, not very happy with me. But it's St. Patrick's Day, and I will take it. If it's one day, I got my fill of sugar, my minty milkshake goodness, and I'm enjoying it. I will admit, I'm not much of a sugar fan, so to put that in my body so early in the morning could be disaster for the rest of the day. But when you look at what other people are drinking today, green beer, lots of just green things, I don't think a Shamrock Shake at 7:45 in the morning is all that bad. It is really just an excuse to drink for a lot of people. You realize that, right? I mean, you don't even necessarily have to be Irish to enjoy a drink at an Irish pub or some kind of a place today. Now, speaking of McDonald's, I've got to tell you this story. Did you hear that their Twitter account was hacked yesterday and tweeted out a nasty message about Donald Trump? Basically, they were saying that they would rather have Obama eat at their restaurants and that Trump has small hands and he's disgusting and blah, 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 blah. So, naturally, it's shocking when you see something like that tweeted from a corporate account that's verified by Twitter, whatever the hell that means. It just means they're legit, I guess. And because if at first you don't know they're hacked, it's like, whoa, McDonald's. But I think in this day and age, you just kind of end up realizing that, okay, they're hacked. And it's just fascinating to see how long it takes for a company to realize that. Because if they have a social media team, perhaps they were right on that, and all of a sudden they're looking at going, why are people freaking out? What did we do? And then they go to their own page and see what they did. But it's great that, these I find it funny. It's sort of replaced the whole celebrity death thing. Remember when there would be those internet reports that so-and-so has died, such and such celebrity has passed on, and then everybody's freaking out on Facebook? Now, I appreciate the hacks more because, I don't know, it's funny, it's entertaining. I realize that, threatening people and inciting violence and stuff like that is not cool, but I guess maybe just when it comes to Trump, it's better. I don't know. But speaking of Trump, earlier in the week, Rachel Maddow, God love him, tweeted that they have Trump's tax returns and they're going to be sharing them with viewers that night. Was it Tuesday? It's Tuesday night? And so in about an hour and a half, whatever it was, everybody's watching MSNBC. First, people were having to find where it is on the dial because most people don't. I didn't know where it was. I've watched MSNBC in the past, but I just didn't know where to find it. And so you find the channel, you find the network, you're getting ready. She's got this information. There's a 20-minute monologue. 20 excruciating minutes, and you can tolerate maybe the first 5 because you're excited and this build up, and let her have her say. And if you don't watch her show, you don't realize that she pretty much does those soliloquies, these monologues every night, and so people are waiting. And then it was almost like a Ryan Seacrest American Idol. We'll have the results right after this. So, of course, that's what I was expecting they would do. They did it after about 20 minutes. Come to find out. And they had said that we've got 2 pages from his 2005 tax returns. 2 pages from 2005. How old were you in 2005? Has your life changed? Have your business dealings changed since 2005? They probably have. If they're not, you're stuck in a rut, and you better go on The Bachelor, Bachelorette, or some reality show to try and spice things up a little bit. By the way, we're going to talk with somebody from Bachelor Nation in just a bit about Nick and Vanessa on The Bachelor. Back to Rachel Maddow. So 20 minutes after that, we go to a commercial break. She comes back, tells us that he claims that he made this much and he wrote off this much in losses. We stretch that out for another 35, 40 minutes with an expert, the guy who apparently got the tax returns mailed to him without asking, they just showed up in his mailbox. He believes that it could have been Trump or somebody in Trump's camp that sent them to this guy. And then naturally, Trump goes on the offensive and saying this is illegal to broadcast this and blah, 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 blah. So I think that this whole Trump presidency and this would be like a reality show that you wouldn't even believe was real if somebody scripted it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like if you were to pick, this would be like a book that you would read or maybe even a movie. CNN has become the Trump network because and I've said it on this show before, don't have CNN on all day. The random times that I might put it on in the morning, might put it on later in the afternoon, maybe early evening, the word Trump is on the screen at some point, I would say 98% of the time. If it's not a commercial for some sort of medication where they have 45 seconds of disclaimer saying that this is going to kill you and give you the craps. But it's interesting. Now, naturally, you think that that's justified because this is somebody who's running a country, and if he's running amok, then it should be reported on. But it's a little bit overkill. It's a little bit much. I think it's, I get that it's people's livelihood at stake when a president or a leader of a country is making such aggressive rulings and dictating things. But, it's just like it's a witch hunt. It's a manhunt for anything Trump-related. It really is. Okay, so we're going to take a break. As I said, we've got somebody from Bachelor Nation joining us to recap Monday night's finale of The Bachelor on ABC. More right after this.
Isn't it crazy that you wait for payday, but before you know it, you're strapped for cash again? It's time to stop blowing your money and become a smart spender with the book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate at cheapskatebook.com. Learn simple ways to cut costs at home every day and during special times of the year. Don't go broke at Christmas. Don't remortgage the house for a fancy vacation. The book is filled with tips to save you money throughout the year. Check out the best-selling book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate at cheapskatebook.com or on Amazon and iTunes.
Airfares go up and down more than planes themselves. Pricearazzi.travel has you covered when flight prices change on Expedia.com. If the prices drop, you'll be sure to know about it. There's already so much to remember when you travel, and you shouldn't have to worry about paying more than you needed to on your flights. Let Pricearazzi.travel keep an eye on that for you. Your biggest concern should be if you've packed enough money to buy all the trinkets you really don't need, or if your swimsuit shows off enough skin in all the right places, or that while you are away, the kids have enough food in the kennel and that the dogs get to school on time. Wait, flip those last two. Simply register your email address with Pricearazzi.travel and then book your flights on Expedia.com. Your itineraries are automatically sent to Pricearazzi, and you could do your happy dance if the flight becomes cheaper in 24 hours. Better yet, you could actually end up flying for free. And who doesn't love free, right? Find out how to save on your Expedia flights at Pricearazzi.travel. Avoid bank account turbulence and sign up now at Pricearazzi.travel.
Ever had something to get off your chest but never had the balls to say it? That's a load of crap. Speak Free with JB.com is exactly what you've been waiting for. Your chance to tell it like it is and not care what anybody else thinks. Have your say on issues of the day. Join newspaper and radio columnist Jeremy Bradley as he tells it like it is. Hundreds of thousands of people have stopped by, including some well-known celebrities who have had a chat with JB and speak candidly about what's really going on in the world. You can join them too. Have a rant or a rave. Be brave and head on over to www.speakfreewithjb.com now.
The Bachelor wrapped up Monday night on ABC. By now you've heard that Nick picked Vanessa, a Canadian mostly unwilling to leave her family lunches on Sundays to be with a man. It was down to her and Southern Belle Raven in the end, as they said all season. Fourth time is a charm. Or was it? Most people think the couple is doomed for the traditional Bachelor failure, but we'll see. Now, every week, host Chris Harrison talks about Bachelor Nation on the show. It's a cute name for people who watch it religiously. Some of them have these viewing parties. I think it's a little bit much. But we've got a fellow Canadian on the line from Bachelor Nation. I'm not sure if she goes to viewing parties or just watches with a bottle of wine like most people do, but we'll ask her. Hello there, Amy. How are you?
Hi, I'm good, thanks.
So, I'm just going to put you on the spot. Tell me, what are your thoughts of this season? Did he make the right choice?
I honestly don't think he wants to get married yet. So even though he says that he's in this for the long haul, I don't know. I think he was having more fun with Raven.
Well, that's it. A lot of people were talking about after the final rose, and it was just awkward between him and Vanessa. Like, do they even like each other? And it was interesting when he was out talking, or when, Raven was talking with him, it seemed like there was more cuddly kind of action, whereas when Vanessa was out talking, it was almost like they were justifying their relationship all the time.
It was so serious, their conversation. And really, if you bring puppies on your last date, come on.
Oh, that will hook you? Is that what you're saying? You would have...
That seals the deal. If you bring a puppy and you guys get together with cute little things, I think that signifies maybe babies. So it kind of was a little curveball that he threw.
But is that saying something about the guy, right? Because maybe it's like, oh, he's such a charming guy. He's got, a little puppy. Is Nick charming, though?
Not really.
Okay, well, there we are.
He's not my type.
No, all right. But you mentioned about, the seriousness and everything, and that was a common trend or common occurrence on those one-on-one conversations with Vanessa, where they were seemingly having a good time, and then all of a sudden she takes it to this serious place, giving her ultimatums or her conditions or her requirements or, laundry list of things. A lot of people thought that was going to be it for Nick, but why do you think that actually, won him over?
Well, even when she was talking to his mom, she was saying how she had all these questions still and she had all these hesitations. And his mom was really concerned about it, saying, oh, well, I hope you find your answer. I hope you get what you're looking for. And I think that kind of maybe raised a flag with his family, and maybe they agree that, okay, if he really wants to settle down, if Nick really wants something serious, then maybe he needs more of a stronger woman in his life who has all these questions and asks these important things versus Nick, running around with no responsibilities, having fun with Raven all the time. So maybe his parents had an influence on his hand.
Well, let's talk. You bring up the family, and I've got to ask, because they've gone through this so many times, right? He's brought people home, or he's brought whatever. They almost seemed numb to it. Now, I'm wondering, were they just not into the gals this time around, or are they just sick of this whole TV thing and, okay, here he comes with somebody else? I don't know how to read them. It just seemed very strange to me. I don't remember how they were in previous seasons, but they just didn't seem into it this time. What did you think?
Yeah, they didn't seem into it at all, and even his little sister was seeing more of the TV time of, let's hang out and let's play soccer together versus his parents even being involved in anything. I know after the rose they talked about, we're going to do our own thing no matter what anybody says, and Nick's going to do Dancing with the Stars and that kind of stuff. And I feel like maybe it's his parents who are disproving of the quote-unquote pseudo-celebrity lifestyle that he's trying to make money on.
Whose dad was it? I think it was Kareen's dad that asked what he's going to do after this show, and I jokingly tweeted, he's just going to do Dancing with the Stars. He's going to do Bachelor in Paradise. What do you think he's going to do?
Yeah, well, exactly. And even Corinne's dad said, "Are you comfortable being the moneymaker in this relationship?" Like, I think everybody sees Nick as a little bit of a dead weight. So even when he looks at his final two girls, Raven versus Vanessa, well, Vanessa has her steady job being a teacher. She's got her head on her shoulders. She actually could be the better profitable relationship for him versus I don't even remember what Raven did.
I don't know. I think she's on the cast of one of those TLC shows. Probably,
something.
maybe.
Yeah.
No, doesn't she own a clothing store? Doesn't she? Or she runs one. I don't remember. Yeah.
That's a little up and down with the economy if you own something like that versus I think they always need special need teachers.
Who would you... No, don't get me started on this, because I'm the grammar Nazi. Every time I heard Vanessa saying Nick and I's relationship, or Nick and... It's Nick and me, first off. She would say Nick and me, depending on how she's saying it. I said, you should be kicked off the show. If that's your grammar and your knowledge of the English language, no. And she's a teacher nonetheless. I would expect more. For those kids, those students, they're in bad hands. That's all I got to say. We talked about Corinne. Who would you think would be a more interesting, or who do you think would be a better Bachelorette, Raven or Corinne?
A Bachelorette,
yeah.
Even though we already know it's Rachel?
Yeah. Who would you find more entertaining to watch, or who would you think would maybe deserve love? Raven, I think, would deserve love. Corinne would just be a train wreck and fun to watch.
Oh, I think Corinne has no problem finding whatever guy she wants, but at the same time, like the way that you saw her act with Nick, she sees one guy that she wants and she goes for him. So I don't think she would be able to play the Bachelorette role of, hanging out with multiple different people. I think she would be slutting it up all over the place. So I think Raven's a little bit more methodical in that way, that she would be a better suited. But don't get me wrong, another season of Corinne, I would tune in every week.
Well, the thing that I always find funny about the gals like that on the show is they've got the confidence when the booze is flowing through their system. Corinne, in this case, had her top off, and then all of a sudden she's eliminated. Nobody's ever going to love me. I'm a horrible person. Why does, I'm going to be alone for the rest of my life. Departure in the car.
Well, and even I remember Corinne's car conversation and her little revelation of screw men, I'm never going to put myself second anymore, and I'm not going to try and please whomever comes across my way, and I think she kind of had more of a, okay, he dumped me and that sucks, but I think she kind of turned a corner a little bit. I don't think she was super heartbroken about it. And then more of her focus too was with the emotional intelligence little feud that she had.
Everybody seems to open up and have these tragic stories of their childhood and their upbringing and their death of their mom, or that so-and-so had cancer, or that they're an orphan. They're bringing this up on the first one-on-one time, in a formal date setting. Do you think that's good or bad? Do you do it? Let's talk about this. When do you open up things like that?
That is definitely not a first date kind of conversation, for sure. That's the heavy kind of later after you've known each other and said the whatever I love yous or gotten on that emotional level. But with what, they do this in 6 weeks?
A little bit longer, yeah.
6 months?
It's a couple months, yeah.
Yeah, so they do this really expeditedly that I feel like they have to, or they're encouraged or edged along to say these things sooner rather than later. I even remember it wasn't even a one-on-one. It was a group date. And one of the Danielles confessed that her former fiance committed suicide or died somehow. And that wasn't even on a one-on-one. That was with a whole bunch of vultures creeping around the corner, eavesdropping or trying to steal Nick's attention too. So these kind of conversations happen more frequently on The Bachelor than I think I would ever reveal in a relationship of my own.
I have to say, you're far ahead than I am because I don't even remember half of their names, and so the fact that you remembered that... but that's the interesting thing. I've always thought that when you're going out and you're meeting somebody for the first time, you're trying to, I don't want to say brag about your life, but you're trying to like put your best foot forward, I guess is the saying, and you want to like impress them. You want to show them what you've accomplished in life and what you've done. But again, on this show, like you're saying, it's just like all of a sudden we have these like tragic, sad stories, and I think a part of it might be they want to seem vulnerable and that they have an emotional side. But I think like that's really risky that it's going to come across that you're just an emotional basket case.
It does to a certain extent, but I think it also shows that, okay, all this crappy stuff has happened in my life, and now I'm in a good place to be serious and settle down, and I'm not just a, bubbly, have fun, careless kind of person. Like, I'm actually serious for engagement, right? I think that's kind of more so the angle that they're trying to take. That, they're mature now, and they've gone, like, they have life experiences, and they're ready to get married. It's not just another dating scenario for them.
I think what's interesting, like you say, it's this, the word you, I believe, used was expedited, approach that they're taking on dating, and I was tweeting that last Monday during the finale, that it seems like we have to have a decision after so many weeks. This is the final episode. I need to make a decision about who I'm in love with. It's so forced. It's so, and you have to eliminate somebody tonight. It has to be down to 2 people. You have to propose on such and such date of production or else. And it's incredibly fascinating that nobody... I'm wanting to know if the Bachelor or Bachelorette ever says to the producers, you know what? I need another week. Like, we're talking about my life here... I wonder if they'd be afforded more time if they said, let me do this at my own pace. Probably not, but it seems so interesting that they could essentially be shutting off a relationship while they're still getting to know somebody just because there's a time limit set out by a TV show.
Yeah. Well, a couple of seasons ago, Juan Pablo, he refused to propose.
Right.
So they were just dating after the show. But yeah, he did eventually only pick one girl to date. He didn't get more time to decide which girl it was, but I think that also comes with when push comes to shove, you need to make a decision and rip off the Band-Aid one way or another. So putting the time constraint and time pressure on it, like you kind of follow your gut and you're less procrastinating and more so, making the choice that following your heart is the right decision after all.
Let's talk about The Bachelorette next season. As you mentioned, we both said it's Rachel. Everyone's making a big deal that this is historic. It's going to be a historic season because it's the first black person. And I never know what word to use to describe ethnicities, races, religions these days, but they were using the word black on the show, so I'm going to go with black. Is it a big deal? Does it matter what color the person is for this show?
That she decided to do this because when Nick went to her hometown, it was her
Church.
mom who said, like, let's not hide the elephant in the room and let's talk about the fact that you're a white guy dating my black daughter. Like, I'm surprised that she is even doing this considering that her parents were very, like, opposed to it. So I would be surprised. Well, we saw after the final rose, there were some white guys who were her suitors. So I'd be curious to see, like, how many she keeps on and to see who her ultimate choice would be.
The guy you're talking about was ready to go black and not go back, right? Isn't that how the saying goes?
Yeah.
Sort of like that? But it's interesting, and the exact words were elephant in the room that Mom used, and it was interesting to see that in one breath she says that, or I think she started out by saying, people are going to make an issue of it, so let's talk about the elephant in the room. Even just by saying that, you're making it an issue. And then you're saying that people are going to judge, people are going to talk, people are going to make the black and white thing a problem. But then you're the one starting that conversation. But the discussions haven't even happened yet. Like, she hasn't even met the people, nothing's happened, but you're already saying this is going to be an issue. To me, I think that's making it an issue, no?
It is. If you, like, acknowledge that you're awkward or uncomfortable about it, well, you are the one who is awkward and uncomfortable. Like, I don't think Nick or Rachel had an issue that they were an interracial couple, or if they did, they addressed it and kind of moved on. And it was more so, maybe the old school traditional perspective of the mother who was a little bit more concerned about it. But nowadays, like, with all the LGBTQ, STWXYZ people out there, like, I don't think there's any kind of issue around that. And I might be naive being Canadian and not being in the States, or not being, was she from Kentucky or something too? So I don't know. Like, it's one of those things where if it's not an issue to the couple, I don't think it should be an issue to the outsider's perspective, but I don't know.
I think it was New Orleans, no?
Yeah, maybe.
I think it might have been that. We've got about a minute left. I have to ask you, because on their hometown date to her hometown, she took him to church. That was what their activity was, and then they went and met her family. Somebody who is that, I would believe she's that religious. If you're going to take somebody to church with you, that means it's not just something you do on Sundays. It's a big part of your life. Somebody like that going on Bachelorette, there's going to be a lot of sinning on this show, I would imagine. How do you think that's going to come into play?
Well, and it's funny that you mentioned that too, because he went to church with Rachel and said, like, he enjoyed it and he loved, like, he's kind of a traditional family man kind of thing like that, and he actually would go back to church with her. And then one of his serious conversations with Vanessa is that she is a French, Italian, Catholic person who goes to church every Sunday and has brunch with her parents and does this and does that. And then he speaks a whole different little spiel there with Chikai, like, I'm not a traditional guy, I don't do that, so that might be something that we have to compromise on, or something that, like, you'll have to change about yourself. And so he was singing two different tunes with two different girls.
I was expecting him to get struck down by a lightning bolt in church. Yeah, that was very likely to happen.
Rachel's going to be making out with a bunch of different people, and, who knows what happens on those fantasy suites.
Well, that's the beauty of this show, is that what happens in the fantasy suite does not stay in the fantasy suite. We know what ends up happening. All right, well, Amy, we're out of time, but I want to thank you from Bachelor Nation. Thanks so much for joining us and your insight on this season.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks so much for having me.
Who are the Kardashians feuding with now? What did that little thug Justin Bieber do this time? Who's getting hitched? And who's headed for Splitsville? Hear the latest celebrity news and gossip every day on Entertainment Wrap-Up. The good, the bad, the ugly, but mostly the ridiculously hilarious. It's all recapped in this daily segment at entertainmentwrapup.com. Have a laugh at the expense of the rich and famous when they take themselves way too seriously. It's 3 minutes of time-wasting fun at entertainmentwrapup.com. Check out Entertainment Wrap-Up at entertainmentwrapup.com. Brought to you by Speak Free Books.
It's never too early to start thinking about your next holiday. Have you checked out Mexico recently? From tequila tasting, swimming with horses, to ziplining through the jungle and watching whales and dolphins in their natural habitat, Puerto Vallarta has it all. Visit mexico.jbonair.com to see all the fun PV has to offer. That's at mexico.jbonair.com for hundreds of photos, interviews, and videos from around the tourist hotspot. Check out mexico.jbonair.com for all the fun. That's mexico.jbonair.com.
We hear you chirping. Get scribbling. Tweet up the Scribble at The Scribble Show. Join the discussion with Jeremy Bradley. It's all going down right now on Twitter at The Scribble Show and at thescribbleshow.com.
At The Scribble Show on the Twitter. I gotta tell you, that Shamrock Shake, it's It's sitting. I don't know how long it's sitting for, but it's sitting right now. If you've had a Shamrock Shake, would love for you to tweet me a picture. Do a selfie with your shake, if you don't mind. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. We have another great show coming to you next week here on The Scribble. Remember, you can subscribe at SoundCloud and on iTunes and at thescribbleshow.com. Love hearing from you week after week. You can send me an email live@jbonair.com, live@jbonair.com. And we've got our celebrity interviews from the radio show and the podcast at speakfreecelebwatch.com. So check that out, speakfreecelebwatch.com. And the latest news and gossip from around the entertainment world is every day on Entertainment Wrap Up. That's at entertainmentwrapup.com. My name is Jeremy Bradley. This is The Scribble. I will talk to you next time again. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Bye-bye, everybody.
Want more Scribble? Check out thescribbleshow.com for past shows, celebrity interviews, cheapskate tips, and more. That's at thescribbleshow.com and on Twitter at The Scribble Show. The Scribble is a Speak Free media presentation.
If you want some real heat